What is up, guys? Welcome back to another 1/50th scale diecast review. This one is of the Norscot Caterpillar 336DL hydraulic excavator. The big difference is this one is rebranded as a Diecast Masters. There is only 3 differences, and one of them most obviously comes with the packaging. So without further ado, let's slide this guy out of the way and we'll get to the second attraction of it all, the packaging itself. And there you can see it's labeled a Cat 336 DL hydraulic excavator. If you'll bear with me on the focus, since it wants to be a little bit tricky today. As you can see, very nice picture of the 336 DL. One thing to note is that this is a newer style 336 DL excavator. You can tell by the E-Series cab that this was produced after 2012. Here you have a picture of the production model that was made by Norscot. All your information, Diecast Masters, real replicas. And then on the back you have all your specs for the excavator. This is classified as a medium-sized excavator. And there you get another picture on the back. So we'll slide that right there off to the side, and we'll bring in the main attraction itself, the 336 DL hydraulic excavator. So this is a very nice piece. This is actually one of the more classic Norscot pieces of the time period. This was introduced in 2007 or 2008. The original casting, which was the 330 DL, then this was introduced in 2009 as the 336 DL, which there's virtually no difference other than this decal right here. But anyways, we'll get to the functionality. So to start out with, you do have a functioning quick coupler on it, and there you can see the bucket, which I'm not a huge fan of, but nonetheless, there's the curl in, curl out. The stick cylinder is very smooth, and you can see you can reach the maximum amount of range of motion. The quick coupler, that's all you do to unleash it. It's a simple hook and pin sort of scenario. Now this is not the same coupler that's on the 336E, but there you can see the bucket. Sorry if it's out of frame. I'm actually shooting this with my Canon camera, which is a little bit different, but there you can see it. And there's an indent where the cat logo should go, but it does not. And to put it back on, it's as simple as hooking it and then pushing it back into place. Now, one thing to note is be very careful. It is a rubber part, and it's not a rubber part. It's a soft. It's a kind of a soft, malleable plastic part. Sorry if I said rubber. Here's this hydraulic line. It's more of a harder plastic than anything, but still, you know, it's a nice little detail. And then you got your auxiliary hydraulic details. And honestly, I would have preferred them to do it in, if they would have painted it black, but instead of cat yellow. That way it will stand out a little bit more, and people have been known to do that to this model in the past. So we'll show you the reach here. As you can see, the reach is quite good. The digging depth is that much, which there is nothing much left to be desired from that. So they did a pretty good job. There's the maximum height it can go. If I can adjust the camera real fast. That is the maximum height that it can go. As you can see there. Very decent. On the back you have some hydraulic detail. And then you can see there's one problem right there, is that the cylinders for the boom do not hold. But you can see some hydraulic detail. Again, the hoses, the casted in hoses running to rubber hoses on the side. You do have a metal handrail right here, and then you have some plastic steps that are etched through up to the back. Anyways, decal wise, you have 336 DL, and then this is another new addition, which is the little warning decal for the swing. And then the tracks, they do roll. They will not roll on a solid surface, but they are metal, and they are very decent. As you can see, they roll very nicely. They're very smooth. So yes, actually there is another thing that I forgot to point out, is the lifting eyes for the counterweight. They are actually drilled through on this model, unlike the previous variant from Norscot where they were not. On the back, you have the D-Series standard indent on the back, and then you have Caterpillar right here. Now, one thing to note is if this was a power stripe machine, which to my knowledge there was no 336D power stripes, there was a 330D power stripe, however, that the power stripe would end right here and this would be the same, but in the square it would be black and have the stripe running around. But in these yellow indents right here while I'm rubbing my finger on, it would be just Caterpillar yellow. But anyways, you can see the reflectors on the back. The engine cover, the exhaust, and all that are pretty well represented. Yeah. Anyways, moving to this side. Again, we got some more vent details, and these are painted in, and they're nice looking. 336DL, and then you got your Power Edge logo, and Caterpillar, and here you can see. Now, one thing that would have been cool was to see a variant of this produced with an E-Series cab, like it is pictured on the box. And with that, even a black cab would have been perfect. Of course, a black cab is easy to do. All you need is some paint. But this is the standard cab from the year it was introduced to 2012. Anyways, Caterpillar on the back of the cab. I'm actually using manual focus on this. So whenever it focuses, that's me doing it manually. And you got some nice detail. Now the final thing is this guy right in the cab. Try to achieve the maximum zoom level for you. And that is standard on all Diecast Masters models. The thing about it is, though, is that it's not Diecast Masters who had the idea originally of putting the guy in there. It's actually Caterpillar, to show really, to give you a perspective of what a real life guy would look like near a machine. Now, the height of this guy, we don't know, but still, I guess someone could do the math. And one thing I forgot to mention about the tracks is they are tensioned with a spring tensioner on the idler. Nice detail on the sprocket, and the undercarriage looks good overall. Now, one complaint I had about this model when I got it, which is not Norscot's fault, which is the original manufacturer of this, was the fact that the undercarriage and the car body were put together so gosh dang tight. And I've actually noticed that this is a sort of an ongoing thing with Diecast Masters excavators. It happened with the 390, the 336E, and now the 336D. And my good friend Heavy Hauler 16, he has also had this issue when he got this exact excavator. So it's kind of a letdown on that front, but it is easily fixable. It's not like one of those things where it ruins the entire model. It just takes like 5 minutes to fix it with a standard Phillips screwdriver. Now, on one front though, like I said, this is the exact same model as the 330DL, which Diecast Masters will be reproducing, thank God, because that was actually a pretty highly sought after model. Even though it is the exact same as the 336D, the only difference is the decal on the back. So yeah. Now they also made a version of this with the shear, and the Diecast Masters, they went and upgraded that with the 330DL with the shear, which Diecast Emporium has got. And I have the shear version, not with me, but I do have the sheared version in my collection. I actually had two, and one of them went to Mr. Diecast Construction Page. But all in all, though, this is a great model. It looks good. There's not many complaints except for the undercarriage, and I wish the bucket would have looked a little bit better, to be honest. But you know, it is what it is. And what I mean by the bucket looking a little bit better is in the fact of I wish it would have been a little bit bigger. You know, the bucket looks a little bit undersized to me, but that's just me. But all in all, though, it's a great model. Out of 10, I would rate it at an 8.5 out of 10, which is a pretty good rating considering, and this model has aged extremely well, considering that in a few short years it will be 10 years old, at least the casting will be. And I'm referring to the 330DL casting by Norscot, which was released in 2007. So, you know, this model has actually aged quite well, and it's still a very nice piece. And Norscot at one point had it going for $90, but now it's gone down to something like 75 or something like that, which is a lot more reasonable for a model like this. And honestly, it's worth it. And if you're wondering whether to get the Diecast Masters or Norscot version, I'd say go with the Diecast Masters solely because of the packaging. And it just looks so much better with the packaging. But with that said, guys, this model is very much recommended. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. And as always, peace out.